Hello adventurers. So this one's just going to be a really quick demonstration video. I did get a lot of questions asking me about enhancing your equipment from like +7 to +8. What's the best way to do it? Is it like using Severing Chaos gear or using the traditional way? I am going to give my opinion, but I'm not actually going to show you how to do that. But on my other character, what I am going to do is I'm just going to show you me going from like +6 to +7. I'm actually going to lower these before I start just so it seems a little bit more fair. So I will be going to +7, and then I'll kind of walk you through the math of from going from +7 to +8, what are your chances? I'm not going to go like super into detail, so I'll be a little bit broad. And then from there, it's kind of up to you, like if you do want to do Severing Chaos or do you want to do it the traditional way. I personally prefer the traditional way. It costs a lot less restoration scrolls, but again, I'll get into that here in a little bit. So what I wanted to do was just kind of walk through like all of the materials that you need. So all you need to really get started are these pristine black crystals, and you'll need these Valks right here. So there was a recent update where you get a lot more Valks from doing Chaos Rift. So that's a weekly entry. You have like 10 entries. I highly encourage doing that. You'll get a lot more of these Valks than you used to. I actually haven't done it in a really long time. Don't ask me why. I'm just trying to save silver, I guess. But I also have plenty of Valks, and I have +8 on my main character. So it's kind of like, this is lower on my priority list is getting Valks. So yeah, there's that. So something really quick on your pristine black crystals. To craft them, all you have to do is go to your refinery in your camp. And then the two main resources that you'll use are these black crystals and these refined black crystals. There's a lot of different ways to get them. I'm still working on a materials guide, so I'll kind of go into more detail, but again, this is mostly just a demonstration. So really quickly before I start, I did want to say like the reason why I weight certain items differently, and by the meaning of weight, I mean that some items are a little bit more precious to me, a little harder to get. So to me, I think the ones that are actually like harder to get and something that you need to try to like be mindful of the number of are going to be these pristine black crystals, just because once you run out, it's really hard to get the materials to get more of them. So like these take a while to actually build up. So I've actually been saving for like a few months, and I only have like 18,000, which in the grand scheme of things is not a lot, especially if you're going for a +8. And then also, I don't weight the +50 Valks very high, just because you can get these advice of Valk 50%. You can get those from Black Altar Shrines. I believe that's what it's called. I can't actually remember. But the ones from the desert. So you can get these from those, and you get a huge amount. So it's almost like this is a free resource. There's not a lot to them. But I do weight the +100s pretty highly. I think my weight for them went down because of the update to Chaos Rift. But they are still pretty important. They are still pretty precious. And then also I weight my restoration scrolls pretty high as well, just because restoration scrolls are hard to come by. Most of the time, to get a lot of them, you have to wait like for Heidel Ball or for any other special event like that to get a lot of them. Otherwise, you have to like pay money for them. And I don't really pay money for this game. So that's why I keep the presets the way that I do. So whenever I go in here, my presets, I normally leave them like as it is. So I only do the +5 or above, and I only do the +5 or above. So I won't be using a lot of these. However, it does use a lot of these pristine black crystals. So that's why I say, like, if you're lower, go ahead and like change it up a little bit, because the weight of them, based on how many resources you have, will change. So I've actually used a lot of resources going for the +7. It normally doesn't take me this long, but I've failed a lot. So this is actually me from the future. So I just wanted to say that, and then just kind of change it up based on what's working for you and what's not. And then based on like the number of resources you have left, you can start to use a little bit more of others. So I'm using a lot of +50, but I still have a whole bunch of +100. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to adjust it and use the plus 100 at plus 4 and above. And then I'm also going to do the same with the restoration scrolls, just because I do have so many and I'm not really using them for anything. So let's go ahead and continue. So what I was working on was an equation to kind of give you the chances of success for actually reaching each one of these enhancements. Obviously the lower ones are pretty good, but once you get to the higher ones, it starts to scale pretty quickly. That equation got super complicated because of the plus 50% chance to stay at the same enhancement level. So honestly, I'm a little bit too dumb to explain it, so I'm gonna try to give like a dumbed down version of it. So these are pretty much just your chances of success from going from one enhancement to the next using those Volks that we already kind of designated as the ones that we want to use. So the main thing that I wanted to look at were just these bottom three right here. So honestly, just in my experience from 4 to 5, it feels really brutal. Like it really sucks to try to get from 4 to 5, but because you're using the plus 50% Volks, you're really not losing a lot. You're just losing the pristines. So again, the reason I just want to look at the plus 100 is because those items are weighted differently to me. They feel a lot more important, a lot more valuable. So again, these are the base percentages that you have, and then the green is the percentage of success that you actually have. So what I wanted to show was a couple of things. So because you have the plus 50%, this is not actually how the math works, but this is how I'm going to do it. Because you have a 50% chance to restore your item, I'm going to give an extra 50% to this success rate. So I'm basically saying you have a 9% chance right here because you have a 50% chance to get another attempt, and if you take the average of that, it'll just be 9%. So all I'm gonna do is take this and I'm gonna multiply it by 1.5 just for the 50%. So this is like more or less what you're looking at. That's your success rate, just with the 50% for restoration. But what I really wanted to look at was if you do this, like that success, and like your success rate to actually get it would be 100%. So on average, it would take this amount of times to get to plus 7 to go for plus 8. And this is true for plus 6, plus 7, or plus 6 to plus 7. But obviously, this is not actually how math works. This is just kind of like, on average, it should take you this amount of times. Every time that you reach it, you have the exact same chance to actually succeed. So again, this isn't actually how math works, but this is what it should kind of feel like. So this one would end up being like a 15% chance. And if you did 100 divided by the 15, on average, it should take you around 7 times to getting to plus 6 to get a plus 7. I actually just enhanced mine with these presets, and I'm on like my 15th attempt. So again, this is not exactly correct, but this is more or less what you should be seeing on average and what it should feel like. If you didn't actually do the 50% success rate, you can just kind of do this, or rather you can do 100 divided by this. So it should take like 10 times to actually get there. So again, I'm way over that, and I'm using the restoration scrolls. So this can feel really bad or it can feel really good. It's hit or miss. You never really know. But I did just kind of want to show this. If you ever want to like take a screenshot to see what your percentages are, or like what your chances of success are, this is what they are. And then like later on, you can always like switch it up. You can do from 4 to 5, you can use the plus 100. You'll have a 20% chance. It feels a little bit better. It feels more consistent, but yeah, just kind of play around with it and see what you like. So let's go ahead and let's go back and I guess finish this up. So I'm actually going to redo this demonstration. I had already started, but I kind of swapped up the numbers that I was using. So I wanted to like take a fresh start, a fresh look at it, and basically ignore everything that I had already done, just so like we can stay consistent with the numbers. What I'm going to do is 2 different ways. I'm going to do how I normally do it, which costs a lot of pristines and a lot of plus 50 Volks. And then I'm going to do another attempt where I do the plus 100 100, and the restoration scrolls at +4 and above. So again, just what that looks like is I'm going for +7. This is normally what I do, is I'll just leave it like this. So that'll be the first attempt, and then this is going to be for the second attempt. So just kind of keep that in mind. So I did want to take a look at what are we working with again right now. So for the +10 Vox, we have 4,977. For the +50 Vox, we have 312. Plus, we have the 3,362. And then for the +100, we have 899. And for restoration scrolls, we have 527,850. And for our pristines, we have 16,560. So this is what we're starting out with, and I'm gonna just walk away because it is so frustrating watching this go. So I'll be back in a little bit. Okay, so that was actually super quick. I'm gonna actually do it again. I don't know why, but I feel like I should just do it again, you know? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna let this go back down to like 1 or 2 or 0. So I'm gonna just let it go. Oops, I did not mean to do it like that. What I meant to do was click that. All right, so we'll leave this at 2, and so just kind of looking at this, I used like almost no resources, and this is just because I got super lucky. So again, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do this one more time with another piece of equipment. I'm actually gonna do the exact same preset that I had. I'm basically discounting that. That does not count in my opinion. That was super lucky. So we're taking a look at, these are the resources that we have again, and I'll do the exact same presets. It, for some reason, this is just me, but I always feel like the equipment always kind of feels different. Like the boots and the gloves, I always have the worst luck with. I don't know if anyone else feels that, but hopefully that doesn't really change anything. So let's see what happens on this one. This could take a while. It could be really quick as well. But once I finish this one, I will do these presets right here, the 4 and 4. So again, let's just let it roll and I'll be right back. Okay, so that definitely took a bit more. So I'm actually, unironically, I'm a little bit more satisfied with that result. So I just want to take quick stock of what I have left. So VOC +10, I have 4,289. +50, I have 2,127. For the +100, I have 828. So actually from +5 and beyond, it only took me, what's the math on this? 5 somewhere. I think 65 attempts from +5 and beyond. So that's actually not bad at all. So my more valuable resources, I didn't use that many of. As for my pristine crystals, I have 14,241 left. So I used around 2,200 total attempts just to get to +7. And then for my restoration scrolls, let's see what I have. I have 515,050. But now what I wanted to do was I also want to do this to +7, but I'm going to be using more of these +100s and more of these restoration scrolls. I think that doing it this way, it feels a lot better, but you are using your more precious resources. So again, if you have a lot of pristines and you have a lot of like these other Volks, these +50s, you should get a lot from the altar anyways. So just kind of keep that in mind. So that's weird. I just one-tapped it and I wasn't using any Volks. I wasn't using anything at all. So again, you can get really, really lucky. So what I'm going to do is let's do this again. I'm not going to use any Volks. I'm not going to use any restoration. What I was trying to do was get this to be like +1 or +0. So what the heck is happening? Whoops, I did it again. Okay, that's not what I'm trying to do. I'm really trying to get this to go lower. So let's auto awaken. This is only a 5% chance, by the way. I'm not using anything at all. So that's weird. Let's do this again. So let's get down to like a +1, and then we'll take it from there. All right, so we're at +0. And again, what we're gonna be doing is we're just gonna auto awaken this to +7. And we're gonna do this at, so turn on all of them and then do +4 for this. And then we'll do +4 for the +100s. And then we'll let it run. We'll see how that works out. And I already kind of took stock of how many of these crystals that we have. So we have now 14, 2, 2, 7. And then we should still have the exact same amount here. I'm just double checking to make sure. All right, everything but the pristine stayed the same. So I'm gonna be right back once this is done at +7. Okay, so this one actually also went pretty quick. I'm not gonna lie, I didn't use a lot of resources. So let's take a look at what we have left, and then I'm gonna do the same thing for the shoes. So for the pristine crystals, we have 13,807. And also, just while I'm doing this, this is a quick reminder that this is a really good way to save your pristine crystals. You'll be doing a lot less attempts, but you'll be using a lot more of these +100 Vox. So the +100, we have 751 left. For the +50, we have 1,897. For the +10, we have 4,176. And for our restoration scrolls, we have 502,650. So 502,650. So not bad. We actually used around 13k restoration scrolls. So even though this took a lot less time, we used more restoration scrolls just from what I can see. And then also we used more we used about the same for the +100 Vox. So it's not too bad, but yeah, it can get pretty bad. So I feel like I was kind of lucky on that. If I went any longer, I would have lost a lot of these resources. So it's hit or miss. This one, it feels a lot better to use this method, but it uses a lot more resources, and these are the resources that I think are actually like really important. So it's definitely up to you and go based off of feel. So again, this is just a demonstration, so you know, use it as a guide if you want to, or use it as like a warning. But after this, I will get into the point of like why you should be doing the natural way of trying to go for a +8 versus going for severing chaos gear. And it's definitely up to you. One feels like more guaranteed, but I think takes a lot of resources. So what I actually ended up doing was I got like my weapons to +8 naturally, and then also my armor, and then my helmet, my gloves, and my shoes. I did that through severing chaos. So half and half is how I ended up getting my gear. So I have somewhat of a decent perspective for both, but honestly, it's up to you which one you want to go. But I'll touch on that once I finish these boots. So once again, what I'm going to do is turn on all of them. I'm going to set restoration to +4, and I'm going to use the +100s at +4, and then our target is 7. And I'll kind of walk you through the math as well for +8 here in a little bit. So with that being said, I'll be right back. All right, so there is the last piece. Again, that went pretty quick. A lot less pristines were used, but a lot more of these +100 Vox, which yikes, look at that number. So with all of this being said, I wanted to show you a couple things. So I'm gonna go back to my sheet and show you. First of all, what I wanted to show was these are like the costs that I had. So what I did was I wrote down like the amount of Vox that I had, the amount of pristines, and the restoration. So what I started with and what I ended with. So after I had done the first attempt on the gear, which again, this was like a really quick attempt. This one went by super fast, so I almost don't count it, but I went ahead and included it. I didn't include the ones where I instantly went from 6 to 7 just because that's a fluke. I wouldn't even consider it, but I would kind of look more at like the cost of 2. This is more or less what you would be looking at on average to spend to go from 6 to 7. So this is what you'll spend, and that's doing it if you're doing Vox 100 at +5 and then restoration at +5, and then it's the same thing if you're doing +4 +4. So maybe I should zoom in a little bit more on this. Let's just go ahead and do that. So you can kind of see like this is more or less what you're looking at. So you can swap between doing the +4 +4 or the +5 +5. I think this one costs a lot more resources, but it saves your precious resources, which are the restoration scrolls and the Volk 100. Those are harder to get, harder to stock up on, whereas like the Volk 50s, I'm using a lot of Volk 50s, but you can see for the other ones, I'm not using a lot at all. So, but the Volk 50s you get for like free, basically. You don't have to do a lot for them. And then for the +4 +4, these are also what I got. This actually went really well for me. So you might not get as lucky, but what I really wanted to show was going back to here. So if you are going for a +7 to +8, which I'm not demonstrating, but I did want to show you, just on average, to get 100% of the time, I'm just dividing this by your success rate, and your normal success rate is 6%. But as I had said before, like I basically just added 50% of that just because you have a 50% chance to restore and then go for a second chance. So on average, you'll have like a 9% chance success rate. But you'll basically have to get to +7 11 times, or if you don't even want to consider the 50% rate, you'll have to get to it 16.5 times, or like 17 if you just want to round up. If I were going for a +8, on average, I still wouldn't even have had enough to reach the average number of successes for 7 to 8 based on the number of times that I got to +7. I know that's kind of confusing. Once again, I'm really bad at explaining, but I just wanted to let you know that if you're getting to +7, on average, you'll have to get there 16 times in order to succeed to +8. And again, this is just averages. That's not a guarantee. You have no idea. You could get more lucky or you could get extremely unlucky. So either 16 or 11 times. So the reason I wanted to show that was because now what I want to do is I'm going to go and change one of these pieces to Severing Chaos or Umbral Chaos. So let's go to Umbral Chaos gear in your crafting menu. And then I'm going to take my my +7 main weapon. Really quickly, what you need for this is you'll need 1 acrid. You'll go in here, grab 1. And I'm going to go to craft again, Umbral Chaos, and then go to Severing Chaos Katanas. Just put that item in there and then craft it. So this won't change my CP at all. It's going to stay exactly the same, exactly where it's at, like nothing really changes. However, what I wanted to show was all of the cost it takes to actually make the resources. So whenever you have this chaos gear, you have a 6% chance to succeed. And that is all across the board. So on average, this is kind of like going back to this 6% right here. It would take you 16.67 attempts to actually get to +1 to +2, +3, +4, +5. So just to prove that and show you, I guess I'll do equals 100 divided by 6. So that's your chance. You have to do that 5 times. So what I'm going to do is equals that times 5. So you'll need 83 attempts for 1 piece. So I'm going to show you like what are the costs for 83 of these attempts. So whenever you do this, you actually need 2 exquisite black crystals. So again, just looking at the cost of these, I just kind of shifted everything over to succeed for +1. This is how many times that you have to attempt. But for the +5, I just multiplied it by 5. So this is what we're actually going to be looking at. So these are the costs for just 1 attempt. So what I went ahead and did was I multiplied these numbers by the total number of attempts that you'll need on average to get a +5. So this is what you're actually looking at. The cost of plus 10 Vox would be 8,300, etc., etc. The cost of restorations, though, on average is going to stay the same for all of them. And then the cost of pristine black crystals is going to stay the same on average as well. So on average, what you're looking at is 175,000 restoration scrolls for 1 plus 8 on your equipment. So if you kind of like take that and look at your averages over here to get to a plus 7, what you can do for this plus 7 is basically multiply the cost that it took you to get to the plus 7 by the average amount of times you have to be at plus 7 to get a plus 8. So again, this is needlessly complicated, but I'm just trying to show you really quickly that that it's pretty comparable. It's actually like it's almost the same. So like for the restoration scrolls for this one, I could do equals, and then I'm actually going to use this 11 number just because you have the 50% chance to succeed at restoring, and then take this. So on average, if I were to consistently get results like this, this cost of making my second plus 7, I could expect it to take a little under 130,000 restoration scrolls. Again, you could be really unlucky, you could get really lucky, and then the cost of pristines, though, this is where it gets pretty bad. Is you could do equals again this number of times that it would take to get to plus 7 multiplied the cost. It would take 25,000 pristines just to get to plus 8. So this one costs a lot. And then also like what you could do is kind of the same over here. So equals this one times this one. That would be your cost of restoration scrolls. And you could do the pristines times this one. And that's your cost of pristines. So it's actually a little bit cheaper over here. So kind of what I'm looking at now is maybe you should do plus 4 plus 4. It's not that bad. Again, this doesn't guarantee you a plus 8. Whereas if you did the Umbral Chaos gear, this is practically guaranteed. You just have to go from 0 all the way to 7. So it's up to you how you want to do it. I think the upfront cost is a little bit more, but it's a lot safer. It feels a lot less consistent. It's a lot less frustrating. So it's up to you which one you want to do. I won't be going for plus 8 on this one just because this is one of my Path of Glory characters. This isn't even like it's not my main or anything like that, so I'm gonna leave it all at plus 7. But again, I did just want to kind of show you this. I'm aware that I made the math seem really complicated, but really all I'm looking at is like average numbers. The most solid math is this right here. This is what I actually used, but again, it varies. You're not going to see this consistently all the time. You can get really good luck, you could get really bad luck. And then as you saw, like I one tapped 2 of my pieces of plus 6 gears to plus 7. But the main thing to look at is how many times does it actually take for plus 7 to go to plus 8? So how many times do you have to attempt for plus 7 to plus 8? And again, that varies as well. So my personal opinion, I would just, I would do whatever you feel best with, whatever you feel most comfortable with. If you are okay with just like doing this, like plus 4, and then going all the way to plus 8, I would say like attempt it, but walk away. You don't want to watch that happen, because if you do fail, like it really hurts to fail, especially watching it. And if you've had enough with that, you can always swap to just doing your Umbral Chaos. Again, what I did was 3 of my pieces of gear, I did Umbral Chaos. 3 pieces of my gear, I naturally enhanced them the old way. So, you know, I would just go here, I would awaken, and then I would take this, and then I would auto enhance. So my preset looked exactly like this. But after what I just did, I'm kind of thinking this is probably the way that you would want to go. It's a lot less frustrating. It uses a lot less resources. The only thing you have to be careful of is your plus 100. So that's pretty much everything for this video. Again, I do apologize it got so complicated. That was not my intent. I just wanted to give you a quick demonstration of what it actually looks like, I know there were a lot of questions about this, and this is kind of a weird topic, just because it is so luck dependent. But with that being said, if you have any questions, please let me know in the comment section below, or like join the Discord and ask me questions there. I'm always available. But if you like this video, please like, comment, and subscribe. We're coming up on 1,000 subscribers, and I decided once we get to 1,000, that's when I'm gonna drop the all materials guide. So look forward to that. I've been talking about it a lot, so hopefully it'll be pretty useful, and it'll help a lot of people. So thanks again for watching. I hope to see you in the next one. Thanks. Bye.